It is a cold, misty morning here over Lake Winthrop. It is Championship Sunday of the 2023 Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship, and it is Tournament Central time. Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins. Another beautiful Sunday, Nate. Talk about what we're seeing out here at Winthrop. It's a little chillier than it was in days past.
You know, it's a completely different morning, Brian. And when people ask me where this tournament is, I always say it's in Charlotte, just outside of Charlotte. And a lot of people that attend this tournament, they stay up in Charlotte. And if you are coming down for Throw Pink, you're likely going to cross the Catawba River. And if you're up early, it was just a misty morning on the river, light filtering through. You arrived at the course, Winthrop Lake, same scene. The fog is just sitting on top of the lake, and it's just a normal little pond. I mean, you can't even, there's no visibility in the water. There's goose poop in it. But when you're here for the Throw Pink or USDGC, all of a sudden it becomes this regal setting, and it's just an iconic place to be. So one of the best settings that disc golf has, Brian. What do you think?
I love that even though this tournament just started recently for the FPO division, the prestige instantly hit. All the players knew what it was worth. All the players know the history of USDGC, and when Women's Nationals was here in 1999 as well, playing it here in Hornets Nest, everyone knows what this moment means. No one cares what the letter is next to the tournament. The payout is major caliber. First place, $12,500, which if you were a player even 5-10 years ago, it's an astounding number for any tournament. Even a major championship,
Yep.
Nate. So let's talk about these players that are gunning for the title this week. Right now we have a tie, Kristen Tatar, Evelina Salonen. Kristen gunned her way up the leaderboard. She's shooting some very solid golf. If you watch the highlights, she looks fantastic.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she struggled in round two, and we were really picking it apart, but it was a 1 under par in round two. Round three, she came back and just had a completely different attitude. The thing about Kristen is that she knows that she's going to score, and it seems like she's able to just stay relaxed. She's not trying to hunt anybody down. I don't think she checked her phone one time during this third round to see where she was at. She had a friend from Estonia on the bag. She was chatting with her in her native language, and she was just completely relaxed, and it showed in the golf. I mean, there was no stress. There wasn't a single moment in this third round, Brian, where she was even close to a bogey. She didn't have to save anything. I mean, she was putting for birdie on 16 of the 18 holes from circle 2 or closer.
Nate, I love the lines that she's throwing right now. Her backhand timing looks flawless. She's throwing that little hyzer flip up to flat, back to fade. A lot of people call that the Climo line, but we could start calling it the Kristen Tatar line. She's been throwing it so well this whole season long, and it worked even in the wind yesterday, Nate.
It certainly did. The putt was working in the wind, and it seemed like she was playing to the correct side of the basket every time. We had a completely different wind direction during this third round out of the northwest. We're going to have a similar wind direction today, Brian. It's calm out there right now, but it looks like when these players start, it's going to start to pick up, and we're going to have the same potential for those 20-mile-per-hour gusts today.
Well, we did talk to Kristen after her 10 under par effort. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I feel like I played very solid, like I did also yesterday, but I feel like yesterday I had a couple of unlucky breaks, and then it affected my mind a little bit. But today I went out there again trying my best effort, and everything seemed to be working today. I missed a couple of putts at the end, but it's okay. My game plan is built up with pretty overstable discs, so it's not that much of an effect for me. I did not know what everybody else was shooting. I was aware that I was doing well, but I mean, I feel like on this course anybody can just pop up the leaderboard and play 10 under like Ella did yesterday. So yeah, just kept the focus on myself, and now seeing myself as the leader was a big surprise. It would be awesome to win another tournament, but I feel like I've already reached my goals. So I mean, whatever way it goes, I'll be fine with it. But I will be out there giving my best effort. It doesn't mean that I'm not gonna show up and give my best. I will be working hard for the win, for sure.
Well, Nate, you absolutely love the clarity and honesty from Kristen. It seems like when she's answering these questions, she's already, in a hammock on a beach somewhere. I mean, her season's done. She notched the Grand Slam. The paycheck at this tournament is pretty solid. I mean, it's going to be nice, but for Kristen, none of that really seems to matter. I think she's very happy with how the season has gone. I think she's just going to take it one shot at a time. It could end up being a superpower for her this round because the tension for the rest of the players is going to be quite high. There's so much more to play for everybody else. Evelina Salonen is looking for that first big victory of the season. Nate, talk about Evelina's chances. What does she have to do today to actually keep up with Kristen and potentially take her down?
Well, it's not even just Evelina's first big win of the season. I don't believe Evelina has won since potentially the Memorial 2020, maybe 2019. So it's been quite some time since she's been in the winner's circle. And I think, it would do a lot for just her confidence. I don't even feel like a lot of these FPO players even visualize the win anymore, Brian, with the way that Kristen has been so dominant this season. So one thing about Evelina, though, is that she also seems very laissez-faire about things. Like when we're talking to her in her interviews, she's just smiley. She's not, when she references one of her mistakes, like she's not embarrassed about it. She's just like, oh, I was worried about the grip locks and I was putting left, and she's just like laughing it off. So she has a unique attitude for someone who is so good at their craft. That was an unfortunate cut through right there. She said, yeah, it might have been a spit out, but also I think it was too much hyzer.
Well, I think with the tension rising, I think that's what happens to her putt. She tends to start to want to narrow those left or right misses and wants to put more hyzer on it, so there's less room for error. But then, like you said, it opens up the door for cut throughs. You obviously want as flat of a putt as possible. But I think Evelina has an opportunity to break through today, break through the tension, break through the pressure. If she can take down the win, it's going to mean so much more than just a paycheck and a one next to the tournament in her PDGA profile. With that, we did talk to Evelina after her round. She's in a tie for the lead. Let's take a listen.
Well, how do you feel about the 500 par effort today?
It's okay. I was throwing well, but still missed too many putts.
Yeah, you were throwing well. You had the one bad break on hole 10. The broadcast was really keen in on that one. I felt like that one was like strong on the pole, and it still slipped out on you.
Yeah, but I think it was too much hyzer, so it went through.
Well, you putted well round 1, and then rounds 2 and 3 you kind of got a little timid. Were you still struggling with the humidity and the grip today?
No, it wasn't grip. I think it was like I didn't have that confidence from the yesterday because I was putting so bad, so I think that's why.
Well, outside of the top two leaders right now, we have another player just 2 strokes off them that is looking for a huge victory for so many reasons. Ella Hansen, just 2 strokes off at 17 under par total, shot some great rounds getting up to this point. Nate, I think Ella's kind of in a similar boat to Evelina. There's something that she just has to break through. Mm-hmm. She mentioned at Waco earlier this season when she just tragically lost the tournament to Kristen that she said she was so nervous. She was shaking. She couldn't manage the anxiety in that tense moment. How is she going to have to bottle that adrenaline, so to speak, and take down the victory? I mean, she's right there within reach, and like Kristen said, anything can happen out here.
Yeah, it's hard to even believe that Waco was this season. It seems like years ago that Ella threw that tournament away, and I feel like she's a different player. And she got the monkey off her back kind of with the win in Canada, but the field strength just wasn't there. So I feel like there's somewhat of an asterisk on that win because she didn't beat Kristen Tatar. You know, she didn't beat Holland. She didn't beat all of these athletes that are at the big tournaments. So I think Ella is still trying to prove something. Doesn't seem like she's looking for that validation, but maybe somewhere down in the subconscious, it is going to be huge for her. We're going to take a look at her round yesterday, Brian. This is a big moment in the round right here. This shot, going for it on hole 9, it's in the wheelhouse, but this green is so fast. If you land next to the basket, you could either get that grass or you could get that dirt and just skip on out, and you're throwing from the drop zone. That's her first circle 2 putt of the tournament there on hole 11, Brian.
She looks good. I think everything looks solid right now. The forehand looks good. It's coming out of her hand with good pace. She's not sawing it off. Like I think that's kind of the big miss with the forehand. When things get nervous, she drops the shoulder and kind of goes to ultimate mode. But the forehand so far has looked great. She's been throwing different speeds very well with the backhand, and that's kind of what you have to do out here at Winthrop. It looks like a bunch of stock shots, but you find yourself in positions where you're throwing just a tick above a stock shot in difficulty, and you have to do it with OB all around. I think if Ella can just push through that pressure, bottle the adrenaline, and make decisions accordingly, I think she's going to be able to push through and actually make it work and potentially take down a title this week. We also talked to Ella after her performance yesterday. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, definitely a little windier. Some just requiring a little bit of extra thought, I think. It made a few holes a little bit more daunting. I think the water carry on 5 is a little scarier. Little headwind on hole 9 makes that going for the eagle a little freakier. But overall, I don't think it affected it too much. Just everybody kind of had to think a little bit more. Round 1 showed me that I'm pretty strong on the back 9, and it just felt like I wasn't throwing the disc too terribly, and I was pretty happy with how I was able to get up and down from like some bad positions on my tee shots. So it was, just trying to keep my head in the game, and I know there's a lot of scoring opportunities on the back 9, and so that's kind of what I was looking forward to.
Well, you're 2 strokes back, 1 round to go. Can you make it happen?
I think so. I mean, like I said, I can, I shot 10 down yesterday. Obviously, Kristen shot a high round, Evelina and Hannah all shooting double digits, so I think any one of us has a chance to take it down. Just we'll see how it goes.
Well, going along with what Ella said, every single player on the lead card going into today has shot double digits on this course. They know what it feels like to birdie a majority of the holes out here. Hannah Blomroos, on the other hand, has shot that solid round, but then has followed it up with 2 very average rounds that she doesn't seem very satisfied with at all. What do you make of that, and is she going to have to make any big adjustments today?
I don't think she's going to have to make any big adjustments off the tee, Brian. The one thing that I'm going to be keying in on this final round is what kind of mode is she in on the putting green. I mean, that's the biggest difference, honestly, with all 3 of the people that are trying to beat Kristen today. Is Kristen is in the same exact mode, and she's not afraid of the basket. She's not afraid of the moment. She treats every putt like an opportunity, and you can't say the same for Hannah or Ella or Evelina. Sometimes there's just a little too much fear in the body when they're approaching the basket, and that's exactly why Hannah's last 2 rounds have been riddled with mistakes, is because there's this tension in her. She's afraid of missing. She's afraid of taking extra strokes on the green, and you can see it in the body language, Brian, but you can really see it in the delivery of the putt. I mean, when she starts to just like loft the putts up and miss it on the left side, that's not the type of delivery that we see from champions. I mean, when someone is ready to take down a big tournament, they are firing those putts in. They are confident, and they show it in their body language. So that's what we need to see on that first hole. She's likely going to park it. I mean, she's parked it the first 3 rounds with that straight mid-range. We need to see her delivering the putt with some confidence.
Well, they're going to have to probably notch 5 to 7 park jobs for birdie as well, especially with the wind conditions being the way they are. Kristen's putt, I mean, I'd maybe say the same thing for Ella's putt, are very well suited for these windy conditions. Evelina, Henna, both with kind of loftier push putts, are going to have to work a little bit harder on the putting green. With that said, we have another interview with Henna after her 3 under par effort yesterday. Let's have a listen.
Every hole you can get a birdie here, so it feels so bad to just take pars. You really want those birdies.
And it seemed like you were a bit timid on the putt, especially deep in circle 1. I'm going to take you back to hole 11. Very timid, missing up on that left side. What's going through your mind in those moments in the round?
I'm just going to trying to think something else after the miss and think that happened already, and I'm ready to go forward it.
Cool. Well, you're on the lead car still tomorrow. You're 4 strokes back of Kristen and Evelina. Is that too big of a deficit?
I think anything is too big for here in Winthrop. This is hard course, anything can happen, but let's see what happens.
Well, Brian, I wanted to tell a little story actually, but I'm going to tell this story on the other side of this break. Coming up, we're going to talk Holland Hanley.
The Toro is really good for short backhand and forehanded approaches. I really love it when the wind picks up a little. I can trust it to still fade towards the basket. Developing the Toro with Dave, I was looking for a low profile, slow disc that was good for forehand and backhand approaches. And through several iterations, we finally landed on this disc. You know, having my name on it, it's just, you know, the cherry on top.
Your rating is one of the most valuable things you get with a membership. This gives you accurate numbers to track how well you've been doing and your overall improvement in the game. You also get a member number when you register with the PDGA. Your PDGA number is a stamp for when you got involved in the sport. It's a badge of pride for players and a part of your disc golf identity. Get your number today. Visit pdga.com/join.
Watch the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship and more upcoming live pro disc golf events here on the Disc Golf Network. Use the code THROWPINKTC, all one word, at checkout for 20% off your first month subscription. Scan the QR code or hit the link in the description below to subscribe today and wrap up the 2023 disc golf season. Before we wrap up the season, Nate, with the Tour Championship next week at Nevin Park, we're wrapping up this championship here at Winthrop. Nate, we were just talking about Henna, and we were a little harsh. I mean, we talked about the putting as probably the key for her winning this championship, but Nate, it sounds like you do have a nice positive story to share with us.
Yeah, so it's 2019. It's my first time in Finland, and I was hosting Perks of Disc Golf events around the country, and I'm on the West Coast at this beautiful course in the woods, and I had heard about Henna, heard the name, heard that she really rips a disc and throw it really far, and step up on hole 1. Henna joins me on this event. It's a 400-foot hole through the woods. I have a driver. I look over at Henna as when she's sponsored by Pro Discus. She has the Midari in her hand, and she looks up at me and she says, "You throw a driver here?" And she parks that 400-foot hole with the mid-range. First time seeing her throw, my jaw is on the floor, and I realized that Henna is one of the best throwers of the disc in the FPO division.
And I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, she is kind of ushering in a new era. There's so many players like her now starting to come up and challenge the top players, including Holland Hanley, who is on the chase card. She's a little far back of the lead. She's 6 strokes off. Do you think she still has a shot?
She's definitely still in this. I mean, she showed us that she can shoot double digits out there. Yesterday, I really couldn't pinpoint exactly what was going on in the mind because there were mistakes everywhere. They were small, but it's all it takes to not score out here is one little mistake. She was put in some awkward positions on the putting green early. She had that weird straddle on hole 2 from behind that big oak tree, wasn't able to connect there. She had the weird footing in the cedar on the next hole, hole 3, didn't hit the gap on 4, and she didn't birdie until hole 9 where she carded the eagle, backed it up with the birdie on 10. But look at that start, Brian. I mean, 3 over through 7. Not going to win if she starts like that today. So she needs to clean up those small mistakes and hopefully the flow will be a little bit more in her favor today.
I mean, man, if she cleans up the front nine and takes a couple of birdies, that's an 8 under par effort. That's a very solid round. It might not be enough to take down the win. I'm guessing she's going to have to go double digits or better. But it's still in the cards for her, and I think this is just going to continue to forge a season that is extremely respectable. I mean, she, I believe, is in the top 5 of the tour points going into the Tour Championship.
Mm-hmm.
We also have to talk about Missy Gannon, who's battled her way onto the chase card. She's remained on the chase card. I believe she's a little bit too far out of this to take down the victory, but she can continue her podiums, incredible podium streak that she's been having this season. She's had so many solid performances. She's had some big wins. She won the Ledgestone this year. What is Missy going to have to do today to shoot a solid round and jump up the leaderboard?
Yeah, I have to agree, Brian. When we get down to 8 strokes back, like, she's going to need a lot of help if the win is going to come her way. But look at the start. I mean, a completely different start yesterday than Holland. I mean, she's 5 down through the front 8. It wasn't until that back 9 that she found some trouble. And hole 13, she was looking at a birdie from like 25 feet, putts it completely over the basket, something we really never see from Gannon. Putts it out of bounds and then actually makes that 30-foot comeback to save that single bogey.
Look at the distance, Nate. This is something that I've seen with Missy over the past year or so that, to me, puts her in a higher category than a lot of the FPO players now. I mean, the backhand timing with power has improved tremendously, and I think she is just one tick away from that elite level distance, and I could see her doing it. She continues to work on it, and I think in years to come, I still think she has an opportunity to throw that 400-foot mark consistently. A player that is already doing that and then some is Eliezer Midling, who is going to find herself on the chase card of pretty much, minus the title, a major championship. Nate, everybody's here. I mean, minus Paige Pierce, everybody who's anybody is here. What do you make of her performance this week?
Well, I mean, it's Sullivan Tipton making a name for himself over at the USDGC, and it's Eliezer Midling who has completely just showed up on this disc golf scene here in a big way. I mean, she is a lot of fun to watch. I believe she has more birdies than anybody in this event, Brian, which is mind-boggling from a 16-year-old, but she just rips on the disc, throws it so hard that the off elbow is actually struggling. She's hyperextending her elbow that she's ripping so hard. The distance obviously impressive, but the poise on the putting green, the confidence, I mean, we're not seeing a lot of FPO players.
Look at that stroke.
Yeah, I mean, look at the pace on that. That is a confident stroke. That's not a guessing game from that 50-foot range. Is this in? Okay. Like from 100 feet, still giving it a chance right there. I don't care. I'm having fun out here is what she's saying. Here she is on hole 9, just stable fairway.
She does say she loves throwing the fairway driver, Nate, and I think as a 16-year-old, that's a great comfort zone to find, especially if you're going to find yourself on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Control driver and fairway driver is going to be your best friend. You can throw the distance driver if you need to, but with her power, she's not going to need to. And a hole that we want to key in on that you really don't need the distance driver on is hole number 17, Nate. This is the hole that is going to potentially decide this championship. Let's fly the hole. Let's talk about it. Year after year, we say the intricacies of this hole, but if you're a spectator coming here for the first time, it blows you away how easy it looks.
It does look so easy, Brian. I mean, it's just slightly downhill. Basket's right there, 250 feet. First time I saw this hole, I couldn't believe all the players that had failed. It's not until you play this event, Brian, and actually miss your first shot that you realize, because you miss your first shot, B, all of a sudden you're going back to your bag going, well, what do I throw now? Mm-hmm. That was my ideal disc choice, and we're in the A position today. It's 15 feet past the hay bale, 18 feet short of the water, and we heard it from Bradley Williams. When you step up on the tee pad, sometimes the greed just takes over. You want to play it safe, but you're like, oh, but I could get the birdie. I could score. Yesterday's lead card was the first time ever that we had seen all 4 of our competitors land safe. It's likely not going to happen again today, and I have to agree with you. that's going to be the hole that decides the champion here.
Well, it is Championship Sunday. We are not going to keep you too much longer. We're going to send you out to the ground. We have Championship Sunday action here at the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. Brian Earhart, Nate Perkins. You just got a little bit more of the two of us for the rest of the day. We'll see you soon.
One thing we all love about disc golf is it's a lifetime sport. Whether you play pro, am, juniors, or senior grandmasters, we all want to play this sport as much as we want and for as long as we want. This can introduce wear over time, potentially hindering your ability to continue playing. A cart reduces the cumulative stress on your body that comes with repetitive motions such as reaching down and lifting. This will help keep you on the course, maximizing your athletic potential and playing your best.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
This almost looks better. Oh my.
PDGA Event Support Helpline.
Hey, I was wondering if I could add some rules to my tournament to make it a little unique.
Sure. You just need a waiver from the Director of Event Support.
Okay, great. An island green?
Shouldn't be a problem.
And elevated baskets?
Yeah, we get those all the time.
Oh, and forehands only?
Sarah, we've been over this.
Sorry. I mean, but I don't see why we can't try it. I mean, everyone loves forehands. Like, you can go right, you can go left, you can throw straight, you can throw high, you can throw low.